Jaqk had always stayed in touch with brother Kzamanarch, even despite the fact that he resided in Jaq's least favoured land of Gaul. It was not merely because Jaqk and Kzamanarch were such good friends. Jaqk knew that this priest was the only one willing who would be able to protect him from magic. The dingo sped from Herzog that afternoon with a full load of fuel, kicking up an obvious cloud of dust from the 6 tires. Zomi was 10,000 gold richer, and Jaqk was still 10,000 in artificially occult-generated debt. It was about 10 hours to the border. Jaqk removed a large utopium alloy turbine pipe from his flak jacket and filled the large cone with oily black tobacco. His lungs and nostrils filled with the dense blue-grey smoke. As he exhaled, the cabin was filled. Jaqk's lungs burned intensely, and his throat felt red raw. In his head, tingling sensations were sweeping over him from his forehead down his neck. He coughed in a stifled, controlled way. His eyes were bloodshot to the point of being more red than white, and tears were streaming from them. His heartbeat was incredibly fast and erratic, causing an uncomfortable sensation on the left side of his ribcage. Jaqk felt slightly nauseous and unbalanced. He had not so much as winked when he arrived at the Ditos-Gaul border. Gaul and Ditos had enjoyed a period of tolerance for generations, so the border station was no more than a small brick structure that was manned by 2 lowly Gaul infantrymen. They halted the dingo, searched half-heartedly for contraband, and then waved him through. Another 3/4 of an hour down the poorly maintained road, Jaqk saw that either side there were tall stands of pinkish wheat becoming apparent. Jaqk had knowledge of sloth wheat. He immediately toggled the control on the dashboard that raised the windows, sealed the cabin and pumped freshly filtered air from the rear. He reached Brother Kzamanarch's dwelling and temple sometime later. "Good evening, brother," addressed Jaqk calmly, yet not completely reserved. Brother Kzamanarch stood up from where he had been kneeling and kissing the soil. His bald head was adorned with a silvery skull cap, and his body was embellished with the long, flowing white robes that signified his status as a high priest. However, it was blatantly obvious when he turned around that something was not right with him. He had a sullen grey complexion, and his now sickly yellow eyes did not seem to have pupils. "Jaqk." His voice was slow, distant, and without emotion, as if it was echoing from an icy chasm. Jaqk had actually witnessed this condition before. Many knew it as half-death. A powerful necromancer could sometimes develop the ability to warp a normal human being into a state that was the twilight of existence. The victims of these curses were cold-blooded yet still semi-sentient. The old bounty hunter knew that his friend,